Okay, this is going to be an instructional video on how to FOIL two radical expressions. And here we go. So we're going to FOIL it just like we know how. We're going to do 5 times 7, that's just 35. And I'm going to do 5 times 4 radical 40. So if you think about it, the 5 is a whole number. It's going to be multiplied with just the 4. There's no radical term here, so it's just going to become negative 20 radical 40. Okay, think of this as 7 times 3 radical 5. That is just a positive 21 radical 5. And then the last one, I have a positive times a negative. So I'm going to multiply the coefficients with the coefficients, so that's negative 12, and then the radicals with the radicals. So 5 times 40 is 200. Okay, so I think it's just easier to do that, to just kind of multiply them together versus writing out all the parts. It can get pretty tedious if you write everything out. So hopefully you understood how I got all 4 of those parts. If you didn't, you could stop the video, retrace, and try to figure it out. Okay, so from there, really all we have to do is simplify. So it looks like we can simplify this one and this one. After that, we'll be done. So 35 minus, this can be broken down into 4 times 10. And this one is just 100 times 2. So the square root of 4 is 2, so it's going to join the 20. The square root of 100 is 10, so it's going to join the 12 out there. So 35 minus 2 times 20 is the 40, plus 2 radical 5, and then 10 times 12 is 120 radical 2. Now, when I get all done, I want to make sure that there aren't any common radicals. And I have different radicals here, so that's all I can do. You can only collect like radicals. You can only add and subtract radicals that are the same. Okay, the second example here, it's just more radicals being multiplied. So let's just stop and think here. When I do this times this, I'm going to do the 7 times the 6, that's 42. And then I'm going to do the radicals, so radical 3 times radical 3 is radical 9. You may notice that that is just 3, but we'll just write it down like that. So again, 7 times a negative 10 is negative 70, and then 3 times 2 is radical 6. We're going to distribute that part now. So we have negative 4 times 6, that's negative 24. And we also have radical 2 times radical 3, that's just radical 6. Negative 4 times negative 10 is positive 40. And radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4, which ends up just being 2. If we rewrite this, this is 42 times 3 minus, you can't reduce those, and the square root of 4 is just 2, so that's 40 times 2. So multiply here, I get 126. Make sure I'm not running out of room. So that's 80. Okay, now I can collect these two to get the 206. But I can also, since these are both radical 6, alright, negative 70 minus 24 is a negative 94 radical 6.